Hey guys, welcome to week 17. Some of you had raised concerns about lack of value addition in the present format of science and tech videos and had requested for on-board videos. Now, based on this feedback, we have decided two things. The first is that science and tech videos, like all other Samachar Manthan videos, will be made on board. And second, these videos will be produced twice a month. This is very important. Please pay attention. Science and tech videos will be made twice a month from now on and not every week. Now, this twice a month is because on-board videos are crisper yet more comprehensive. Thus, while on the one hand they tend to be shorter, on the other they require much more time and effort to make, and therefore twice a month can be called a fair middle ground, which allows us adequate time to make these videos and you guys can get good quality comprehensive content. Secondly, the pages which you're going to see in this video, they are not the ones from your original document. These are my notes which were supposed to be used for board lecture this time, but because of some problems, we could not make that video on board, and therefore these have been used here because their content would be too time consuming and tedious to reproduce like in writing in this video. So I have directly used those pages here. So please bear with us this time. From next time onwards, things will be smoother. Let's begin. Alright guys, the first news is India's first indigenous fast breeder reactor attains criticality. Now this news, although it is directly important only for prelims and in mains you can use it as example of progress in nuclear energy, other things like types of nuclear reactors and India's three-stage nuclear power program, these two things can be asked even in mains. Of course, in prelims also question can come from types of nuclear reactors and India's nuclear power program. Let us begin with types of nuclear reactors first. So this part is not given in your notes, so I would request you to pause the video and take down the notes. There are four types of nuclear reactors: light water reactor, heavy water reactor, graphite moderated reactor, and fast breeder reactor. India has conducted this fast breeder reactor has attained criticality. The purpose of light water reactor is only production of electricity, while all others, that is heavy water, graphite moderated, and fast breeder reactor, they produce electricity as well as plutonium production, all of them. Okay, PP stands for plutonium production. In terms of coolant, the light water reactor uses water, heavy water uses heavy water, which is also known as deuterium oxide. Now this can be asked in prelims, so don't get confused whether it is heavy water or deuterium oxide. Both of them are the same. In terms of graphite moderated reactor, the coolant is either CO2 or helium gas or water. So two coolants can be used, either gas based or liquid. Gas can be CO2 or helium, liquid can be water. And fast breeder reactor has liquid sodium as the coolant. Moderator is water in light water reactor, heavy water in heavy water reactor, graphite in graphite moderated reactor, that is the name itself. And in fast breeder reactor, a moderator is not required. This is very, very interesting and important. Moderator is not required in fast breeder reactor. Then in terms of fuel enrichment levels, the light water reactor uses low enriched fuel, that is low enriched uranium. The heavy water reactor does not require any sort of enrichment to the uranium, that is to the fuel. So natural uranium can be used directly in heavy water reactor, important point. In graphite moderated reactor, either low enriched, that is slightly enriched, or not enriched uranium, that is natural uranium can be used. And in terms of fast breeder reactor, various mixtures of plutonium 239 and uranium 235 or 238 can be used as fuel. So that will be types of nuclear reactors. Coming to India's fast breeder reactor, so this stuff is given in your notes. I have simply consolidated it here. This reactor is of 500 megawatt capacity And attaining criticality means it has become fully functional. It is located in Kalpakam and it uses uranium 238 as fuel as given here, and the surplus fuel which will get produced can be used in future or other fast breeder reactors. Now we have already seen in the table above that in all other reactors other than the light water reactor we get electricity plus plutonium. Now this plutonium is what is referred to as surplus fuel in this point. Two PSUs have been involved in this project. One is Bhavani. The full form is Bhartiya Nabhikiya Vidyut Nigam. Now, this PSU has built the FBR, and the other PSU is Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, that is BHEL, and this PSU has provided the power equipment for the plant. Power equipment. Okay. Now we can talk about India's three-stage nuclear power program. This is important for both prelims as well as for mains. So this program was formulated by Dr. Homi Bhabha in the 1950s and was adopted by Government of India in 1958. The purpose is energy independence. Now you must understand that energy is the primary requirement for economic growth and indirectly for poverty alleviation and a higher standard of living. So we cannot rely on imports for our energy needs. So energy independence is the purpose, and we should be using our domestic resources for that, domestic energy resources, that is uranium and thorium, primarily thorium. The largest source of thorium in India is the monazite sands in southern India. Please note, monazite sands also contain some uranium, so it is not exclusively thorium that is present there. Some uranium is also present, and overall India has just 1 to 2% of global reserves of uranium, but of thorium we have got 25% of global reserves, so one of the largest in the world. So this is where energy independence is going to come from. Now, the problem with thorium is that it is not a fissile material. Fissile means it cannot be used in nuclear fission. That is, it cannot be easily broken. Its atoms cannot be easily broken. So, nuclear fission cannot happen with the existing technology using thorium. So, it can be used only when it is made into a fissile material, that is uranium 233, in a reactor that is fueled by other fissile materials. So other fissile materials would be like plutonium 239 or other forms of uranium. So this thorium has to be converted into uranium 233 in a reactor that is fueled by other fissile materials, and then it can be used as fuel. Then what we have is parallel approaches, that is if instead of the present way, that is the way shown by the three-stage nuclear power program, the parallel approaches are also there, and these approaches also can be used in your mains. Basically in prelims they won't be asked, but still for your knowledge you must know, and we are going to talk about parallel approaches slightly later. Just for now, you can know the names of parallel approaches. They are Indian accelerator driven system, advanced heavy water reactor, and molten salt reactor. These are all thorium based. Coming back to the three stages, so stage 1 uses the pressurized heavy water reactor, which uses natural uranium as fuel. So you must remember that India has already 1 to 2% of global reserves, or it can even import natural uranium. And the outcome is electricity plus plutonium 239. So this is the surplus fuel which get produced in stage 1. It must be noted that almost all reactors in India are pressurized heavy water reactors except for two boiling water reactors at Tarapur. Then we come to stage 2. Here we use the fast breeder reactor, which uses a mixed oxide fuel. This fuel is made of plutonium 239, which got produced in the first stage, and natural uranium. Now, this reactor produces electricity as well as more plutonium 239, which can be used in further fast breeder reactors. The important thing to note is that the fast breeder reactor in stage 2 produces more fuel than it consumes. Now, the plutonium 239, which got produced in the stage 2 in the fast breeder reactor, is combined with naturally occurring thorium to produce uranium 233, which is then used as fuel in stage 3. The reactor which is used in stage 3 is named thermal breeder reactor, and although this reactor initially uses uranium 233, it is estimated that the technology will mature so that naturally occurring thorium can be used in later times. So ultimately, the objective of energy security will be attained. All right, now we can talk about the parallel approaches. In parallel approaches, you need to know only what is given in this slide. And since this is not given in your notes, I would encourage you to pause the video and take these points down. Beginning with the first, that is accelerator driven system. India's Department of Atomic Energy and USA's Fermi Lab. Now, Fermi Lab is a US government body. The full form is Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. And these two bodies have combined to make the accelerator driven system. No country in the world, including USA, has built an ADS for power generation till now. Coming to the second parallel approach, that is advanced heavy water reactor. The design of this reactor is ready for development. We have made a 300 megawatt reactor which is cooled by boiling light water and is moderated by graphite. It uses thorium and uranium 233 mixed oxide fuel. Mixed oxide is a term which we used previously also some time back, and another mixed oxide of plutonium or thorium. So both of them can be used. It will be operational by 2020 if everything goes as per the plan. The third is the molten salt reactor, also known as the Indian molten salt breeder reactor. Now, this is under development and studies on conceptual design are underway. So, out of these three, only the second one, that is the advanced heavy water reactor, holds promise as of now. The other two are in very initial stages. That will be all in this topic. The second is a small and independent topic related to the theme of army reforms. The name is The Wrong Reform. I believe an editorial by the same name had appeared in the Indian Express, if I'm not wrong. Alright, so this topic is relevant only for mains. Nothing from this topic will come in prelims. And I've already told you that it is about the theme of army reforms. So, two changes have been proposed. The first is removal of brigadier from rank hierarchy and removal of div headquarters or division headquarters from the organizational hierarchy. So, let me just explain that the rank hierarchy is like we have a colonel at the unit level who commands a unit. Then we have the brigadier who commands a brigade, and then we have a major general who commands a division. A major general. Okay. In the organizational hierarchy, let me just explain. The first is the battalion or the unit, which is commanded by a colonel. Then we have a brigade that is commanded by a brigadier. Then we have a div or division that is commanded by a major general. Then we have corps. Then we have command. Okay. So this is the organizational hierarchy. So what is being suggested is that we eliminate brigadier from the rank hierarchy and eliminate division from the organizational hierarchy. Now, the author of this editorial mentioned various problems with these reforms. First, we will discuss why these reforms have been proposed. So, the first benefit will be of budgetary burden will get reduced, that is, huge savings will ensue. then more officers can become major generals, because we have removed brigadier. Colonels will directly become major generals. And the changed nature of warfare demands such a reform because of the presence of tactical nuclear weapons. So, tactical nuclear weapons are those which are more mobile, which are smaller than those bigger ones. So, they can be used more frequently in warfare, and therefore, bigger formations are easy targets. So, that is why we need to have smaller task forces. So I have used the acronym TF in this page. So TF refers to task forces. Now bigger formations are easy targets. That is why we need smaller formations, also known as task forces. And all over the world, we see the same trend happening. That is the movement towards task forces or multiple small forces. Then the editorial discusses the challenges, that is, the problems in executing these reforms. So, the first problem is that it will be difficult to manage multiple formations. Now, because at the level of division, we have a bigger formation and then we have the core. If we remove the division, the core will be required to deal with multiple small formations, and this will require huge complications. This will make things extremely complicated in terms of control and coordination. Also, the supporting arms like engineers or signals or ordnance supply, so these arms will have an extremely tough time serving competing requests. Okay, then we have personal management complications. Now some major generals will be commanding the task forces now, and the other major generals will be having experience of commanding divisions. This will distort the existing level playing field in terms of promotions. Now, because promotions require a higher an experience of commanding a higher force, the major generals having experience of commanding divisions will stand to gain above than the major generals with experience of commanding task forces. So, unnecessary litigation will ensue in this case. The task forces will also complicate functional issues with divisions involved in CI ops. CI stands for counterinsurgency, and there are many divisions in India, especially in J&K and Northeast, which are involved in CI ops. And if we remove these divisions with task forces, so how will the distribution of work take place? So, in terms of functional issues, many complications will arise. The author also mentions one more problem which I missed in my notes, and that is of teeth to tail ratio. So, teeth in this phrase stands for the combat units, the combat soldier, the fighting soldier, and the tail stands for the supporting units. Okay, supporting units or non-fighting forces like ordnance, like supply, like army medical corps. So all those non-fighting forces which are needed to support the combat or fighting forces, they are referred to as teeth to tail ratio. And if we have multiple task forces, so multiple task forces will have their own multiple objectives in terms of combat readiness, in terms of fighting requirements. So the teeth to tail ratio will get disturbed in this case. And lastly, in terms of way forward, the author says that the suggested reforms are not practical, and the esteem needs of the officers are better served through financial upgradation rather than wide ranging organizational changes. So he's not in support of the reforms. Guys, I have tried to explain this topic in as simple terms as possible. And if you still feel confused after reading your notes, you may wish to read the entire editorial, which is by the same name, that is The Wrong Reform. But you need to understand that the author is a former soldier, that is, he was a corps commander, and there are many abrupt changes in the editorial. Like the author will suggest one thing and simply move on to the next without explaining its meaning, what he wishes to say. So, in case you are still confused about whatever thing that might be troubling you, I'm afraid you will not get much answer even after reading the entire editorial. So, we'll have to deal with whatever we can understand as of now. The next is a simple topic. It reads, India conducts successful missile interceptor test. I have used the letters M, I, and T for missile interceptor and test respectively. And this test has been conducted at night. Important. So this topic is important for both prelims as well as for mains. In prelims, specific facts about the technology and this particular test can be asked, and in mains, the whole concept, that is the technology itself, can be asked. Uh, so India's objective is to build a two-layered missile defense shield. So the first layer is about higher up in the atmosphere, that is exo-atmosphere, and the second is endo-atmosphere. The exo-atmosphere is called Prithvi Air Defense System or Pradyuman, and the endo one is called Advanced Air Defense System or Ashwin. And Pradyuman can go up to a height of 80 kilometers maximum height, and Ashwin is for the height of about 20 to 40 kilometers. The other details we are going to study just in a little while. And the question that can be asked about the altitude of the air defense shield can be combined with your geography layers of the atmosphere. So it can ask you that the two-layered missile defense shield can protect missiles maximum up to the stratosphere or the mesosphere. So like you really need to know where 80-kilometer falls in terms of layers of the atmosphere. Then is why it was in news, the recent test at night which was conducted. So this test was conducted off Odisha coast, and it included the Prithvi defense vehicle. Please note, it is not the Prithvi air defense, it is the Prithvi defense vehicle that was tested, and it was exo-atmospheric. The first test of the PDV was held in April 2014, and this test was, the enemy missile was hit at the altitude of 120 kilometers, and it will replace Prithvi air defense. Okay, so we have talked about Prithvi air defense or Pradyuman initially. The PDV is going to replace the PAD. So PAD has got a maximum height of 80 kilometers. This one has got at least 120 kilometers as of now, maybe more if research goes. So these are all secret things. We know at least 120 kilometers it can hit. Okay. Then it is a two-stage solid fueled missile. Very, very important. So there are two stages and solid fuel missile. It also carries an infrared seeker which helps it to distinguish between warheads of enemy missiles and decoys. Coming to Ashwin, we have already seen this point that it is an endo-atmospheric layer of the missile shield, and up to a maximum of 40 kilometers it can go. So let me just compile everything once again. India has a two-layered missile defense system. One is the endo-atmospheric and the exo-atmospheric. Endo is Ashwin or AAD, Advanced Air Defense. EXO is Pradyuman or PAD as of now, but it will be replaced with the PDV. Endo, the altitude is 20 to 40 kilometers, and EXO, the altitude is it is estimated to be 50 to 150 kilometers, even 180 kilometers according to some estimates, but that is the rough idea which we have as of now. And India is only the fourth such country in the world that has got a two-layered missile defense system, and the other three countries are USA, Russia, and Israel. Lastly, the ballistic missile defense shield of India has not yet been officially inducted into the forces. The next is a very small topic. The name is Human Capital Score. I have used the letters H and C for human and capital respectively. In prelims, details of the rankings can be asked, and in mains, you can quote the rankings or the score in any question related to human development or education or health. So let's come to the details. Now, this was a study published in the Lancet, and this study was conducted by Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, And this is the first such study to be conducted over the issue. And it concluded that human capital is directly proportional to economic growth. This means that good human capital or strong human capital will mean strong economic growth, and conversely, poor human capital will mean poor economic growth. India has been ranked 158 out of 195 countries, so not something to be proud of. And poor health and education are to blame for this. And the study states that if the current situation continues, India will be cost dearly for this. That is, it is referring to demographic disaster. The details of the rankings, that is how the other countries compared to India have fared. Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh are the only countries which have, comparable countries which have performed poorly, and other countries like which have done better than India are China. Like India is no match to China. China has scored 44 on this score, and then even Sudan has done better than India. Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives all have done better than India. Now, a question can ask you that other than China, which is the country which has got the highest score? So it will be Sri Lanka. So in the region, Sri Lanka has got the highest score of 102 rank. That will be all in this topic. The next is a purely prelims based topic. It reads PM Modi gets Champions of the Earth Award. Now, this is UN's highest environmental award, and besides Mr. Modi, five other people have got this. So, six in total have got it this year. And Mr. Modi got it for two things, that is, leadership of the International Solar Alliance and the pledge to eliminate single use plastics by 2022. Coming to the about this award, so it was established by UNEP in 2005. It is an annual award, does not carry any cash or financial reward. Important thing. And it is successor to UNEP's Global 500 Roll of Honor. That will be all in this topic. The next topic is Cabinet approves National Digital Communication Policy 2018. Now, this topic is important for both prelims and mains. In prelims, details of the policy in terms of key objectives, major features, and strategy can be asked. In mains, not just these three, but also and more importantly, critical analysis of the policy can be asked. But we are yet to see editorials regarding this. So let's see in future when these come, we will include the critical analysis. As of now, only these three will be covered. Now, when we read the key objectives, you will realize how amazing they are. The first is broadband for all. All right. The second is creating 4 million additional jobs in the digital sector, increasing the contribution of digital communication sector from 6%, which was in 2017, to 8%, and being amongst the top 50 nations in the ICT Development Index of the ITU. ITU stands for International Telecommunications Union, and this is a UN body. India ranked 134 in 2017, and the last two are rather vague. The first of it says enhancing India's contribution to global value chains. So no fixed target in terms of quantifiable target has been given. And the next is ensuring digital sovereignty. So even if we root out the last two, the others are absolutely amazing in terms of, the coverage which they have, the objectives which they have set. So these almost seem utopian. The next is major features of the policy. So every citizen, mind you, every citizen will get 50 Mbps of broadband connectivity. My God, this is dream here. Then every gram panchayat will have 1 Gbps connectivity by 2020 and 10 Gbps by 2022. We are talking about Gbps. Okay, I don't know, how the government is going to do it. It feels so good after reading it that I want to vote for BJP now. It seems like an election gimmick. uh, the next is ensuring connectivity to all uncovered areas. So this is very important. All uncovered areas will be covered. That means there will be nothing that will be left out. So 100% coverage. attracting investments of US dollar 100 billion in this sector. So again, a figure has been given: train 1 million people in this skill, and expand the IoT, which stands for Internet of Things. Expand this ecosystem to 5 billion connected devices, and establish a comprehensive data protection regime. So all the things which you can point out, which should be there in this sector, in this policy, they have been covered. The next is strategy which will be followed. So a national digital grid will be established by creating a national fiber authority. The next is establishment of common service ducts and utility corridors in all new city and highway road projects. Then institutional mechanism will be established between center, state and local bodies to enhance collaboration. Lastly, removal of barriers to approvals and facilitating development of open access next generation networks. So that will be all for now in this topic. The next is a small topic. The name is Astra. It is a missile, and it is important for prelims mainly. And in mains, it can be asked under the heading Variety of Missiles India Possesses. And BVRAM, this acronym stands for Beyond Visual Range Air to Air Missile. Now, Astra is an all-weather BVRAM which has been developed by DRDO, so indigenous it is, and this is the first air-to-air missile developed by India. Very important point. It can engage both short range, that is within 20 kilometers, and long range, that is within 80 kilometers. These targets can be engaged, and at present it has been integrated with Sukhoi 30, and in the future it will be integrated with Mirage and MiG 29 as well. So this is also a very important point, can be asked in prelims. The next again is a very small topic, important mainly for prelims. In mains you can use it as example under efforts to counter air pollution. So the topic's name is Vayu, and it is an air pollution mitigation device. Vayu stands for Wind Augmentation Purifying Unit, and it has been developed by CSIR NIRI. CSIR stands for Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and NIRI stands for National Environmental Engineering Research Institute. It is an indigenously developed device, naturally, because it has been developed by CSIR and NIRI, and it has been developed as part of technology development project which is funded by the Department of Science and Tech. It can purify air in the area of 500 meters square, and it consumes nominal power, and maintenance costs are very low, so it can be used on a large scale. Uh, it uses charcoal, which is also known as activated carbon, and UV lamps, as well as titanium dioxide to do its job. So this is a point which can be asked in exam. The next topic is smart coaches from railways. Now, this is a topic which is mainly important for prelims, and even in prelims, the details of the improvements won't be asked. So, if you open your notes, a huge content will be given, but you really don't need to read everything there. If you're interested, naturally you can read, but otherwise, just focus on what I am telling. Other than that, nothing else will be asked. Definitely you will need to know the purpose of the improvements. In mains, not really important, but this topic can be used as example under modernization of railways. That will be all. So the first point is that these smart coaches have been made under Make in India program. Okay. The next is that these are the improvements which we were talking about. So the first improvement is black box. Then we have Internet of Things based system, CCTVs and other minor improvements. The black box will be used for enhancing communication, and IoT based system will be used for better monitoring and maintenance, and CCTVs naturally for security. These are the technologies overall which have been used in these improvements, so ranging from GPS to artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, Wi-Fi, etc. So all these things have been used, and my notes have missed just one thing. Under the IoT based better monitoring and maintenance point, you will notice the term PICU. Okay, so this is an acronym which stands for Passenger Information and Coach Computing Unit, and this is an industrial grade computer which will be used to monitor coach maintenance and passenger interface. That will be all in this topic. The next topic is Center of Excellence in Data Analytics, or CEDA. So this is important for prelims, that is the details can be asked, and in mains it can be used as an example of government efforts towards good governance. So CEDA has been set up by NIC and NICSI. NIC stands for National Informatics Center and NICSI stands for NIC Services Incorporated. The objective is to analyze the huge amounts of data which government departments possess and which they continuously update. For example, take any government department at the cutting edge level, be it health related issues, be it post office, be it passport office, any department at the cutting edge level, it will possess huge amounts of data which can be analyzed to deliver better services. So this is the overall objective of CEDA, and ultimately it is going to enhance good governance. What it will do is it will analyze whatever data which the departments have, and it is going to help them in understanding the needs, the exact needs of their clientele, that is the citizens, and it will also help in identifying the tools required, the softwares required, the ICT tools which can be incorporated to deliver those services. Next is about NIC can be asked. So NIC, I've already told you the full form, and it is similar to IT departments which private corporations have. So all IT related stuff of the government is handled by the NIC, and it advises the government about usage of ICT wherever possible, and it also helps in execution of ICT projects which have been approved by the government. A few projects include NICNET or National Knowledge Network, etc. Coming to NICSI, it is a subsidiary arm of NIC, and it helps in implementing the projects of NIC, and it is responsible for establishing and managing ICT infrastructure. The next question is Center to Hike grant for SDRF. SDRF stands for State Disaster Response Fund. This topic is mainly important for prelims, that is, the details can be asked, and in mains, it can be used in any question dealing with financing of disaster management. So it has been recently decided that the center will enhance its contribution from 75% at present to 90% for all the states. Okay, this is very, very important. Until now, 90% was given only to special category states, but from now onwards, all the states are going to get 90% help. That is 90% contribution from the center. Only 10% they need to put themselves. And this recommendation has come from Finance Commission, that is the 14th Finance Commission. In fact, all the norms regarding management of disaster funds, it comes from the finance commissions. And coming to the SDRF, it has been established under the Disaster Management Act of 2005, and it is the primary resource available to states to deal with notified disasters only. This is very important. Only the notified disasters can be dealt with using the SDRF, and the list is prepared by the Ministry of Home Affairs of the Union Government. And the next is that the prelims can trick you by asking that all disasters are covered under the SDRF. That would be wrong. Only the notified disasters are covered. And the government of India contributes, like earlier it was given 90% for special category states and the union territories, and 75% for all other states. So this information I have already stated, and it is given in two equal installments. That is, the contribution is given in two equal installments. The next is the SDRF can be used only to provide immediate relief. Now, this is something which prelims can ask you again. Uh, Only immediate relief to victims can be provided using the SDRF and not for rehabilitation or compensation for property loss, crop loss. So, all those things are not covered. Only and only immediate relief can be given. And 10% of SDRF can also be used for local disasters. So, one is notified disasters, the other category is local disasters. Local disasters are those which are not covered under the notified disaster list of MHA. Also, 5% of STRF can be used for capacity building for disaster management. So, all the exercises that you see in states for disaster management, those can be funded up to a maximum of 5% from the STRF. So, that will be all in this topic. The next is a very small topic, important mainly for prelims. In mains, it can be used as an example under sustainable development or climate change or energy security related questions. The topic's name is Sustainable Alternative Towards Affordable Transportation. So, this is an initiative of Union Ministry of Petroleum, wherein compressed biogas, that is CBG production plants, will be established. And the next point is regarding the benefits of the CBG plant. So, fiscal benefits are there, that is reduction in import bill. That is why it is affordable, and it is affordable and cheaper than crude oil. So we are seeing oil like nearing about 100 rupees per liter. The biogas, the compressed biogas, is a more affordable option in that ways. So both in terms of national economy, that is import bill, and in terms of household economy, it is affordable. And the next point is that it is environment friendly, as it uses not just farm waste but also municipal solid waste, so helps in municipal solid waste management. And it would also reduce air pollution, including that from stubble burning. And lastly, it also addresses to a certain extent the issue of farmers' income, as farmers can sell their agri waste, that is farm waste, to the CBG plants. The next topic is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs partners with Google to launch hashtag Loo Review campaign. This topic is not really important either for mains or prelims, but a question, if asked, will be from sanitation area, and it can be related to Swachh Bharat mission or use of IT in governance or in citizen engagement. So here, citizens can locate and review public toilets in 500 plus cities, and this project is a part of Swachh Bharat Mission Urban. That is all that is important under this topic. The next topic is Parakram Parv celebrations. This topic is not really important for prelims, as in a direct question from this topic is highly unlikely, but the question can be asked in terms of the details about special forces. Okay, and about mains, a question can be asked about the relevance of the tool of surgical strike in present times, or they can ask you about the types of special forces which India possesses. These can be a few questions that can be asked from this topic. Coming to the details, Parakram Parv was celebrated to honor the surgical strikes which happened in September of 2016, and it was celebrated in 53 locations across 51 cities in India. And this is the more important part, that is the special forces. You need to understand the difference between special forces and regular forces. Regular forces are like if you have seen Republic Day parade, you would be seeing Gorkhas, Jats, Sikhs, Mahars. So they are regular forces in the sense that in case of conventional warfare, these are the forces which are going to fight. Uh, I don't know if you have seen the Bollywood movie Border or Kargil, LOC Kargil. So the forces which you see in the on the Indian side, they are the regular forces. Special forces, however, are different. Special forces are for unconventional warfare. They are for special operations. And because like surgical strike was a special operation, special forces were used there. These forces are used when full-fledged war is not required, or for operations like counterterrorism, or for operations which are deep inside the enemy territory, like destruction of, say, nuclear missile facilities or whatever, something like that. So these are unconventional forces which are used for special operations. And India's military has got their own, each wing of the military has got its own special force. So para commandos are for the Indian Army, Marine commandos or Marcos are for the Navy, and Air Force has got the Garuds. NSG is a different case. NSG is a special force, definitely, but its mandate is to fight terrorism inside the country. Okay, and NSG is under the operational control of Ministry of Home. Although the personnel which go like to fight terrorists, you must have seen during the 2008 terrorist attacks, the soldiers are definitely drawn from your commandos, like para commandos, marine commandos, or garuds can also be there. Even the CRPF, paramilitary forces, also sends its own soldiers. So it is a mix of all of them. And the para commandos, marine commandos, and garuds, they fall under the operational command of the Ministry of Defense. This is something that can be asked in your prelims. And these do not officially fight terrorism. That is, the Ministry of Defense Special Forces do not fight terrorism. In order to fight terrorism, they go to the NSG. That's all. That will be all in this topic. The next topic is India and UN sign Sustainable Development Framework. This topic is important for prelims, as in the details can be asked, and in mains it can be used as an example under India's efforts or Indo-UN cooperation towards sustainable development. Coming to the details, the framework covers 5 years, that is 2018 till 2022, and focuses on 7 priority areas. These priority areas have been identified by the Government of India. 19 UN agencies are included in this, and along with them, Niti Aayog have signed, and the 19 agencies will be helping in the achievement of these 7 priority areas. The overall objective is to harmonize India's priorities with the UN Sustainable Development Goals as best as possible. And lastly, we need to see what the 7 priority areas are. So they are given here. The priorities include poverty and urbanization, health, water and sanitation, education and employability, nutrition and food security, climate change, clean energy and disaster resilience, skilling, entrepreneurship and job creation, and lastly, gender equality and youth development. So these 7, they can be asked in your prelims as well. That will be all in this topic, guys. So with this, we come to the end of this video, guys. I've tried my best to address the concerns raised last time. Let me know how I did. If there is anything I missed, or if there's anything which needs further improvement, do let me know. Your suggestions are vital in improving the quality of the content you get. That will be all today. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.